What do you know about Facebook's transition to Meta?
This is the first I'm hearing of it. Is that a new company? Is that what is
Facebook
that?
isn't Facebook anymore. Facebook is
No
now
fucking way.
Facebook is now Meta. This is real. Dude, this meta shit is this is the thing now. And it's big. It's really big, dude.
Welcome to Meta. 3D spaces in the metaverse will let you socialize, learn, and collab.
So
Facebook metaverse.
So basically Facebook now, or sorry, Meta now is basically created the Matrix. And yeah, that face says it all. It's, as you might be reading right now, it's basically turning everything into a digital 3D virtual space, right? Where you can just conduct everything, I guess, in, you know, like VR chat or whatever. It's just kind of like that for everything, forever.
Gyms become fitness applications. Entertainment is provided by games, immersive educational content, phone and video conferencing, social interactions. It's an all-encompassing system.
It's the Matrix. You just need to plug yourself in. So, what are your first impressions on just seeing a little bit about Meta?
This is... it looks like everything that we earlier talked about not liking about being a human being has been brainstormed into a product.
Yeah.
And is now a thing.
I think that this is going to be as big as smartphones were. I think this is going to be as big a revolution as smartphones were, and I'm not thrilled about it, but I think it will be. I think that organizations are going to be pressured into picking this up over the years, and things will be conducted via Meta. Meta will. I heard that Meta has been trying to get religious groups to start doing their services in Meta, and they're being very opportunistic because of the pandemic, right? Because a lot of these groups have not been able to meet up. So it's like, hey guys, hey, now we've got you can do the same. You can get in this space and the avatar, and I can see why that would be appealing. Basically, it's creating a space in which you can look how you want, be surrounded by what you want. In effect, it's a matrix, a space where you can seem a certain way, be surrounded by certain people. You can block people from your physical space. It's really like what those early depictions of entering the internet in like 90s films like The Lawnmower Man, I think, were sort of trying to capture. And it, in a way, it seems cool, but mostly it scares me. Like, mostly it seems like it's the end of real 3D space. It's like the beginning of the end of that shit. What are your thoughts? Now you've had a little time to process.
I mean, I won't partake. Virtual reality creeps me out in general, so I won't even play like a VR game. I don't know why it does, but I'm just not interested. So this is something that's not going to affect me at all. Honestly, I'm glad. I'm not glad, but I think maybe this will be a nice, distinct, like, separation between people who actually want to live in the fucking real world and people who don't. And all the people who don't, they can go over there, and then all the people who do, they can go over here, and then let them do them. This is ridiculous.
So, with what you're saying, I'm actually, people that are excited about this, fuck yeah, have at it, enjoy. Like, I can totally understand why this might be really exciting for some people. It could be, the application could be, just, it's supercharged internet, right? I love technology as a tool. Technology is how we're doing this. technology can be great if used in the right way. The one thing that I would be a little concerned about, though, is
that it's Facebook.
Well, yeah, it's a company that's main goal is profit. And they're going to fill it with ads, and they're going to, the same way that YouTube gets tampered with, the same way all these spaces get tampered with, they're going to tamper with it. Except if you're in it, it's going to be your whole fucking reality, because you're going to be so addicted to that shit that the rest of the world just pales in comparison. Or maybe something even more sinister will happen. And I'll point you to the example of smartphones. And this is my experience with smartphones, right? Today we have smartphones and we're like, okay, whatever. We kind of accepted them. Some people liked them from the get-go. When they dropped, I had like a Nokia, I was still using like flip phone Motorola's and Nokias and shit like that. And for me, a phone had reached its limit of what I wanted it for. And what I wanted a phone for was like, so I could contact people at any moment on the fly, like, oh, where are you? Can I meet you guys at 5? Yeah, great, I'll be there. It was really as a device to just have quick access to my social network of people, or maybe employment, or whatever it is, so I could meet them in person, or so I could arrange things in person. It wasn't really much more for me. So I was quite happy with where I was at with the Nokia 3310. And the iPhone drops, and over the coming year or so, some people start being like, oh man, this thing's really cool, and like you can do this, and you can look at this. There's a video of a gerbil shitting off a wall. Like, oh wow, oh, you can have that on your phone. You can watch that on the bus. And some people were really into it and excited about it. And I was just kind of like, oh, whatever, But to them who are on board, great. It's a product they wanted. It's a free market. Word up. That's really cool, and that's what capitalism should be. But then you fast forward a little bit, and the technology improves a little bit more, and a little bit more, a little bit more, and suddenly it becomes hard to buy a phone that isn't a smartphone, because they phase them out, and then that's the standard. And then so eventually you have to buy one. And then a few years later, I had an experience at my workplace where, and it was for my safety. It's always for your safety and convenience. Those are the two words. When it's for your safety and convenience, that's when you got to spread the butt cheeks. I was trying to log in to my little laptop, because obviously everything at the school I was at, all of my access to the role, the syllabus, other course materials, emails, it's all on the laptop. That's fine. That's the age we live in, and I quite liked having a laptop at work, actually. So tried logging to my laptop. Oh, can't get in. You need two-factor authentication.
Two-factor authentication.
So now it didn't matter if I didn't want the smartphone 6 years ago, because now without my smartphone, I can't even prove at the workplace I've been in for 3 years that I am me. And it's like, that really fucked with me when that happened. It's not like the inconvenience. I mostly had my phone with me anyway, but it's like, hang on. I know all of you people here. I've got an ID card that I scan in this joint. Who is this that I'm proving my essence to? Like, this isn't, who the fuck is this that I'm doing this to? And because ultimately someone representing these companies came and sold the idea of two-factor authentication with their fucking product, and the company bought in and everyone was forced to do it. I think this is going to happen with Meta.
That's what I'm saying, man.
This is going to happen with Meta, and people like you and I are going to be forced into doing it. And that I don't like. I like that. I like the idea that technology is exploring new dimensions and new spaces and new ways of communicating and hanging out and having fun and meeting new people. That's cool, man. Like, it's got issues, but it's cool in general. But I don't like the idea that at some point I feel like you and I and everybody on Earth is going to be forced or pressured or coerced into basically existing in a new reality which is owned and operated by a fucking company whose sole aim is profit. It's like instead of taking over the world, they just made a new one and forced everyone in.
Fire.
I've been thinking about this shit. I don't know.
They're gonna buy Zoom. Or create their own Zoom. And they're gonna fucking coerce companies into using it. And all of a sudden, to fucking live or work in your job that you're doing remotely because you don't want to get sick and fucking die or something.
You don't want to get sick.
You're gonna have to use Meta because it's just the way Zoom is at multiple jobs now. You have to use Zoom. Eventually, you're gonna have to use Meta. All of a sudden, you're sitting there. They're fucking taking your whole shit. You know, never mind.
Dude, and look, I understand that this, you know, I didn't want this to be me bitching and complaining about technology. Like, I'm surrounded by technology. I love the shit. It's fun, but I don't like power and control. I like freedom. I like freedom, and I like physical, real 3D space as well.
Yeah, the virtual reality part of it doesn't bother. Like, it's cool if people enjoy that kind of shit. Like, that's dope.
Yeah.
But the idea of the fact that, I'm gonna eventually, this is gonna be a thing that's gonna affect me at some point.
It's gonna affect you at some point.
It's gonna affect me.
Yeah. It probably not for a few years, but once it's there, you know, and it's. I don't know why it bothers me, but it just really bothers me.
It bothers me because this is the same company. I don't know how it is over there in Australia, but for the past 2 months here in the US, the news cycle has been dominated by how Facebook doesn't give a fuck about human beings and continually ignores things and does things that are damn near human rights violations.
Yeah.
Election manipulation, all this kind of thing. There was a whole Facebook whistleblowers 60-minute specials.
Dude.
It's been the news cycle here for the past 2 months.
Yeah.
And now when I Google Facebook, you know what I find? Fucking Meta. And nothing about the past 2 months of them being pieces of shit.
Because
it's very scary.
Fucking... It's crazy, right? Like, it's a new level of... I heard it described as you know, like... and this is me sort of paraphrasing other people who've spoken on it. I won't claim this is my own original thought, but it did resonate with me. I've heard it compared to like old mining barons and you know, oil barons of back in the days. They were kind of the equivalent, who were like doing all this shit, pillaging the land and just like getting all this fucking control and power and capital, and that was the equivalent. But really, compared to this, that's small potatoes. That's like, yes, you can control people's work, you can control people's resources in certain fields, but this is controlling people's minds and controlling their fucking existence that they have to communicate in. And it's crazy shit. Like,
this is stage 3 of the COVID plan, by the way. This is all been engineered.
It sort of feels, it kind of feels a little bit like it's all a little bit perfect, doesn't it? Like, it just feels a little bit perfect.
Either people are really, really good at taking advantage of a shitty situation.
Yeah.
Or something about this situation is a little contrived. All this is a little, you know.
Here's what I think.
My tinfoil on.
And I think it should be pointed out that, like, the good news is this is a very small YouTube channel, so the risk of us getting seen or banned or whatever is very low.
I was just thinking, I was like, I should stop joking about any of this.
No, but like, we don't know what we're talking about. We're just people, but I think we're relatively intelligent people. So it's just two people's opinions, and this is not news, and these are not experts. But well, we're not experts about this. We're experts about many other things, of course. But I tend to think personally, in my opinion, that it actually might be opportunism. I think that there's probably people who work for companies that study statistics and data and probability and just know that eventually something will happen that can be used. Because it wouldn't have had to have been something like this. Could have been half a war, could have been terrorism just kicked into overdrive and there's just bombs flying everywhere. Could have been, you know what I mean? Could have been a bunch of stuff. Could have been maybe more tidal waves or, you know, anything to like destabilize people and put them in sort of fear and kind of fight or flight sort of mode. But it does feel like it's very much being capitalized upon, and that's what when I heard the thing with the like reaching out to religious leaders and trying to get them to buy in.
That's dark.
That's fucking dark, man. And it's
really dark.
People used to talk about how much fucking power and influence the religions had. Like, they're small fries compared to this shit as well. Here's a stat I heard as well, and Facebook is bigger than Islam, and it's bigger than Christianity. Like, there are more Facebook users than there are people of either of those faiths. So think about that shit for a minute, you know. And I'm sure Hindus have got a bunch of people. It's bigger than any one religion. So it's like, whew.
Yeah, I'm cool on Meta.
Zuckerberg is. Do you think he's an alien?
No, I don't even think he's a bad person. I think he just plays the game well and has surrounded himself with a team of people who also play the game well. And when you have a lot of people who can play the game well in one space with a common goal, they're playing it way, way better than everyone else. It's scary.
Yeah. Sometimes I wonder if it's like a scientific mind that just wants to see what happens if you do this, like this kind of scientific ambition. You know, well, what if we create this? And what if we create that? And then we can revolutionize this and revolutionize the way we do that.
There are a lot of people like that, but they don't have the resources to do any of that or the drive to do any of that.
Yeah.
And he's like the perfect lightning in a bottle human being that has the intelligence, the drive, and has gotten himself the resources to do all of the above, which is why he seems so strange to the rest of us. Yeah,
that's a good point. You know, some of my favorite authors and artists, visionaries. But if you gave them Zuckerberg power, they might create a very dystopian land. Like they might, you know, they might. People have some fucking weird ideas and they want to make weird change, and they don't necessarily need to be. I don't know what I would be. Would you? Like, we spoke about being a mayor last time we spoke. Do you think that you could find the allure of power? Could you find that to be attractive?
Yeah, but with my limited experience of having power or influence over anything, I find that I'm at my most absorbed with myself when I'm giving other people power.
Yeah.
Having the power to and influence to breed power and influence in others. So that's what like is cool for me.
Yeah.
So, you know,
it's a nice take. Yeah. That's need more people like that, man. In power, to be frank.
In power.
In power. You know?